Here it's really fast. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it on this major scale, but you can shift through it just by holding shift and same scale, minor, Dorian, Lydian, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it on major. So shift tap tempo makes the click track go. So I'll just think of an idea. So that's just one idea, right? And it seems incredibly bland. Well, what's cool about it is I can go into, let's see, I'll go into cutoff. I hold record. And what I'll do is I'll make another note here. I'm going to hold these two notes together and I'm going to make it pick between those notes in probability. Now every other time, it'll pick one of those notes to play. And then these two notes, these little rhythmic notes, I'm going to make them different probabilities to play. So that's my new little sound, right? Maybe I'll do a little bit of So then if I want, I'm going to take that click track off. So now if I want to get a kit going, I just hit kit. So if I want to go back maybe to the first track, and I want more from that track, I can hit this. So now I have another repetition if I want it. There's a way that you can, I haven't figured it out. I've only had 4 hours with this thing as far, so. Oh yeah, so what I've done is I've just duplicated that track, so now I can go in here and change these. So this is the second rep through, now it's going to go back to the first one. Right, so I'm just getting like these musical variations as fast as I think about them. You know, and then another thing you can do is you can save synth presets. I haven't got a chance, obviously. I've only had, again, 4 hours with this thing, so you have to bear with me. But, you know, if I go to song mode, I start a new track. Instantly, what happens when you start a new track when you have kits or the synth is either one of these algorithms you can save presets for them. So this is the first. So that's like an acoustic kit. And they have like sample-based ones. The sampling is really easy. I did it once. You just you have an internal mic right here, so you can just like kind of record and snap and get your snap going. I don't want to get into that. It just kind of takes a little bit, but it's super easy to use. But in the synth thing, I can just find another. So whatever the last track you set for timing wise, it'll set the new tracks for that. So it's just as fast as you can think about it, you've got something going. Now, I know these synth sounds are cringe-worthy, but, you know, I don't care. I'm on the road. This thing is battery operated, by the way. You notice there's nothing plugged into it. I have had this on. I haven't charged it yet. This is the charge from New Zealand still. So, you know, you can take this on the road. You can put your headphones in it or whatever. And when you're getting serious about it, you're like, right, I've got this musical idea done. When you're actually serious about it, you can go home and plug it into whatever your actual serious synths are and get timbres that actually are cool instead of just like. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. So you just hit shift, and so there's these two knobs. These are the navigation knobs. These ones up and down, right, and then left and right. If you hold shift, shift does everything. So shift I can determine that. Look, this step right here, this one's only 22 bars long. So now, when it comes back around, it's going to repeat itself. So you can start to get some really complex rhythmic results out of it. You know, I wish I had something to show for it. I've just pretty much been using the last little bit to learn. And I had one really rad thing going with the modular, but now it doesn't matter because if I were to play it now, it's just spitting out CD. I think if you're serious about using this in a modular world, you won't just use the CD that's on board. You'll use the CD that's on board as well as like a MIDI out that goes to a more robust system. You know, something that has like 8 CD and 8 gates. You know, something you could really go with. But what's cool about it is that you can use the CD outs here to do obviously not just for notes. You can do all kinds of stuff with it, and you know that's really rad. And then, so you understand, each one of these MIDI tracks has 128 available CC tracks. So this, you can map a knob, for example, to one of the CC tracks, hit record, or per step change the CV rating. So you could be able to, like, let's say you have an SEO2 or something chilling beside you. You push play, you hold that step, you change whatever CV you're working with. Maybe it's like the delay amount or something like that. You can do that per step just by holding the step, turning the knob. Hold the step, turn the knob. And you can do that with anything. All you have to do is map it to one of these little customs, called Custom 1 and 2. Actually, it's three different custom things. And then what I noticed is that I was like, wait, I only have 3 custom CCs per track. That's actually not true. Once you have a sequence, you can then change what's mapped to this. And so you could essentially do, I know it might be a lot to think about, but you could essentially do 128 different CCs all within the same track, doing all kinds of different stuff. So I might be wrong, but that might make this just as powerful as the most powerful MIDI sequencer I've ever seen. And this is actually a Kickstarter project that, every 3 months has been updated, and it's just crazy. And I was like, I kind of got this and it blew my mind, and it's just so fast. I mean, I guess its biggest strength is the speed that you can just like bust it out. And you can also plug a live keyboard into it, I'm sure. The only thing I wish it had is like a USB jack that was a host, so you could host a keyboard with it. You actually have to, power the keyboard somewhere else and plug it into the MIDI jack, but that's not a big deal. But yeah, any questions about this thing?
If you sequence from an external keyboard, like you were saying, does it do a polyphony on that?
It does polyphony, it does velocity, which right now, so you guys know, I mean, as much as it sucks, these are not velocity pads. But yeah, it'll take, it takes all kinds of, it takes pressure information. It takes polyphonic pressure information. So if you have a polyphonic pressure, a lot of people don't, but in case you have like a keyboard or something.
So the synth engine is poly aftertouch compatible?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's something I haven't, to be honest, I haven't tried it yet, but that's what it says in the manual. So yeah, 4 hours. So, what's up?
Yeah, so I'm an NPC Live user. I'm not a fanboy. I've just really got my head around it in the last few months. But this clearly competes with it, or maybe vice versa. What's the first question? What's the price point on this?
It's $1,000.
Okay, so again, they're
with shipping, and then I'm sure that Customs is coming for me any day now with their plastic. They actually owe me this.
tax. Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably around $1,000.
So maybe $1,200 for the NPC Live. 2 things this is better at for sure. One, it streams from the media card, which very strangely the NPC Live, huge downfall. Got 2 gigabytes of RAM. I've got a 500 gigabyte hard drive in it. That's great for storage, but it has a severe limitation because it does audio tracks, and then you don't have really room for that. So this is better. The other thing this does is the probabilistic stuff. So it's pulling that from the Octatrack world. I think I'm not a
definitely pulling from the Octatrack.
But that's way cooler than NPC Live, which is, you can move it off grid, but you have to do that manually.
Yeah.
My only question though is, does it have multi-outs other than the stereo?
No, it does not have multi-outs, and it doesn't have DAW integration yet, which the MPC, as far as I know, has. You can spit it onto a card, stick it in your computer, and load it into Logic, and it'll just be like boom.
Yeah.
They also said on their website that they don't have that in the stack order of what they want to do with it, but there's been, what's cool about this is that, I've been party to some of these kind of products where you're in a Kickstarter situation and everybody wants a certain thing. These guys have been extremely reactive. The probabilistic thing was like pushed up from nothing to like the first thing that everybody wanted, and they sidelined all the other things they were doing, and the last update was all about the probabilistic step stuff. Because me as a modular user, I don't care. Does it do probabilistic stuff? If it doesn't, I probably don't want it. You know what I mean? So that, to me, it did a lot for me, because I like to be surprised by what I'm doing. So yeah, I think that the DAW integration thing is probably going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, I think it's not that hard. You just have to kind of like mute each track, and you can MIDI sync it. So let's say you wanted to get something off of here onto your DAW. You just have to MIDI sync it, mute each track, record them, blah blah. You know, it really wouldn't be that hard to do. But if you get 64 tracks going, you've got a serious composition going in here. That's when it's like, all right, let's get the DAW integration going. It samples and it samples in stereo. And again, it's streaming, so you don't have to worry about what you're running into until you're probably like 32 tracks deep with processing on each one, reverb. What's cool about the reverb is that it can be independent per track or total. So let's say you wanted to have reverb as a center, you want to have different reverb setting for each track, you can do that. And you can thereby save yourself some of the processing by using reverb for the whole thing, stuff like that.
Can you sample into it, or do you have to import samples?
No, you sample right into it. I wish I would have learned the workflow a little bit more before I came, but
No, that's good. You'll come back, right?
Can you load samples into it?
yeah, you can access the card, and you can. I think it's really good practice to do, like, if you have like a pretty solid session with this, to dump it, because of the nature of this product being new. And but if you go on the website, what you expect out of something like this is people to be like, this didn't work, blah, like, I spent this money and blah, and you expect that to happen, and there isn't that much of it. So they really are working on the quality, and if you feel like the way these knobs feel, the way that this thing is done, the fact that they released this magnetic little cheat thing, so if you want to navigate around, for example, you're making a synth voice, you have two knobs. Right? So the way that you really nav is you use the shift key and these shortcuts, and that's how you really get a lot of it done. And honestly, the fact that they did that, like, really just changed the game for me, because, if I'm going to work with that, you'll work with the sampler a lot. You won't, I don't know, like, most of you probably aren't, like, into the kind of, like, subtractive kind of sound, like, it's boring. Like, there's more to your synth than that, but that's what's so cool about this. It can literally take, as long as your synth can hear the CVs, or it can hear CCs, which that's the biggest thing that it can do. This is an extremely robust controller for that world. Anything else?
Will you bring it back when you spend more than 4 hours?
Yeah. What I should do is bring it back with a nice patch with the modular. One thing that the CV outs do is they have a run and a clock, which is changeable. You know how, like, a lot of the times you'll get gear that has a 24 snaps per beat or something. This one you can change inside of it, so it's its own divider, which is really handy. The fact that the run is either hot or not, you can change it from 5 to 12. If you're working with, like, Mo gear, for example, it takes higher amounts of CV or voltage to get, like, started or not started. So they've thought about that kind of stuff. You can change the output voltage inside of it too, so you don't have to worry about that. They have a little disclaimer in the manual that I read. They're not totally sure it's safe with everything, but honestly, I feel like every single manufacturer has to print that at some point. Thus far, I've had no problems, and it's been literally completely super rock solid.
What are all
Was that?
Me?
Either one, doesn't matter.
What are all the CV ins and outs that it has?
So it has, there's 4 gate outs, 2 CV outs, and then 2 MIDI outs. And then, so the line in is just a stereo 1/4 inch, headphone is 1/8 inch, and then it has mono and stereo outputs. There's no talk of a breakout box or anything like that. This is kind of designed specifically to be a standalone, like, idea box. But if they get the DAW integration thing going, which everyone's asking for, so that's how I know it's going to happen. Like, there's a million votes for it, that eventually you'll be able to pop your card out and you'll have a session ready to roll with the major DAWs, hopefully. What's up?
Oh no, I was just stretching.
Oh, okay. I think he had it.
You said it's a Kickstart project. Can you share the name and the
It
Kickstart?
was a Kickstarter project. It was, super funded, and then now it's a thing.
Can you
So
share the name
Synthstrom-
and the website again?
Yeah, synthstromaudible.com, and then the product is called the Deluge.
Thank you.
Taking the Deluge. From Take Hold of Me.
Thank you.
Yep.
Where'd Joe go?
go. There it